and welcome back to Final Fantasy, where we are jumping into 10-2. I have felt the urge, the craving for a long time now, maybe a couple of months after our big all-the-way playthrough of all the main games, to come back. I've also wanted just a good RPG. I don't think I've really played one. I played like Fallout 4 and stuff, but a really like investable one since probably Expedition 33, and I was craving that sort of storyline stuff, especially after Kerbal Space Program. My God, what do we say about this game? So I got lots of things, like friend of mine, Jesse Geetha Bell, streamer, played this for 10 minutes and turned it off. People were so memeing me starting this game and just like, and I get it. I totally get it, because the opening of this game is bizarre, but it is one of the biggest bait and switches I've seen in a long time. If you play for 11 minutes, it starts to make sense, and then you discover this absolutely incredible game, especially because Final Fantasy X is considered one of the best, and I agree, one of the best mainline series of Final Fantasy. So what is that start? It starts with Yuna, Summoner Queen, who has destroyed all the stuff in the past in Final Fantasy X, being on stage at a pop concert, singing like a Taylor Swift pop concert with tens of thousands of people, and you're like, what the hell happened? She went on an adventure. There's an interesting cutscene that you could play. I forget the name, like it's Eternal something, I think, that's about 15 minutes long and links Final Fantasy X to Final Fantasy X-2 to bridge that gap for you. And it basically just has Yuna and Riku going on an adventure together to find spheres, because they got this mysterious sphere message, these like video recordings, and so they're going on an adventure. And then we cut to, I think it's 5 years later, something like that, and suddenly you're now starting the game and you're in this pop concert, and then it introduces this character called Pain, and it's an all-women team that are at this pop concert, and then fights break out and all this kind of stuff. And it can very easily turn you off, because you're like, oh God, what? They went with like this full anime, like almost K-pop-y style. Why is Yuna now a pop singer? Come to discover at around minute 11 or 12 that there's an imposter called LeBlanc who is using Yuna's popularity, because she was the most popular person and most aware person on the planet, given what happened in the events of Final Fantasy X, in order to pretend to be her. And actually, there's way more shenanigans going on. And Yuna, not wanting to be beholden to being this sort of like spiritual advisor to the world, doesn't want to do that because she's still really young, and Riku's like, why are you doing this? Like, you clearly don't want to do this, to give advice to like old people about their grandchildren and all this kind of stuff. You want to live your own life. And so Yuna's decided to go and do that, and she's become a sphere hunter and joined the Gallywangs. They've got a stupid name. I'm calling them the Goonies from now on. The Gillywings, something like that. The Goonies. She's joined the Goonies, who are sphere hunters. That's what they do. They have this hot rod style aircraft from Sid, and they've got a couple of teams on there involving Shinra, who's apparently a young boy who wears like a radiation suit all the time, who's a super know-it-all, classic FF Cindy sort of approach that they're going with there. We've got Brother, who is in love with Yuna, like super simp, and somebody else, Buddy, who's actually like flying the craft and figuring out what's going on. So you're now part of this team, and your job, what you're doing is hunting down these very powerful spheres, relics, essentially, of the past, to go and get them. That's what they do. And there's other sphere hunters around. This is quite a sought-after job. Like, kids are trying to be sphere hunter teams. There's the competition team, which is led by LeBlanc, with the most wondrously taped outfit I've ever seen in my life, who's going about doing this. And then we get the game. Now, not without flaw, but my God, this is a very, very, very good combat system they've come up with. Really interesting. It'd be hard for me to explain it to you if you've never played this game. What I would say, if you've reached this point, if you've got FF10-2 because you bought it on Steam and they usually come bundled together, and you've not played it because that opening cutscene where it's a pop concert, you're missing out on something, I think. I've only played like 7 hours, and already I'm like, yeah, this is really good. And once you get past that first cutscene, which is jarring, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's jarring, and you probably will be having the impression, is like, am I going to like a pop band here? Is this like the Jets or something? No, you're not. No, you're not. So what's so good about this combat system? Well, in FF10, they had the rotating sort of character approach. So you could swap characters constantly with your whole team. So like half your team wasn't benched like they were in previous Final Fantasies. You would get an array of like 6 characters, but you generally wanted to use your main 3, and then at some point you would use all of them. In this one, at least so far, I have my 3, which is Pain, Riku, and Yuna. But now they have what's called dress spheres, which again is off-putting because it's like playing dress up, but dressing is actually just jobs. Is what it is. It's job spheres is what they are. And what you'll have is the ability to change a character's job in combat. So they'll start as like a black mage, but if you wanted to, you can swap them to a warrior, to a white mage, to a festivity person. There's all sorts of weird jobs. It's Final Fantasy. You can immediately swap them. And the dress sphere element of it is a cutscene will play of them changing their outfit to... So if you go from like white mage in a white cleric robe, and you swap to a black mage, you'll get this like Vivi sort of outfit that comes with it. Now, this animation is incredibly obnoxious, even on short. The normal one, the long one, is about 30 seconds long. The short one is about 15, so I've just turned it off already, because they want you to do this. Because then what you get is these templates, these like sphere templates. I think they're called sphere grids or something like that, or garment grids. I think it's garment grids, because it's based around the swapping of the outfits. And these garment grids allow you to slot jobs into them, and then you assign that garment grid to a character. So if you've got a very sort of, at least for now, like a melee-orientated person. So I've got Pain, who's my warrior, but also I want to learn some black mage, almost like FF5, and so I can learn MP absorb, so I can refill her mana, so she can keep doing warrior stuff, and I'm going to do her accessories to be melee, but I kind of want her to be a black mage as well. And then maybe I wanted to have a white mage thing so she can dispel, you know, she can Asuna people. It costs you a turn, but you get to do this. Then I will probably look towards, at least for now, a garment grid that's hers, that has at least 3 slots in it for those jobs, but also has bonuses that are based on changing your job, because the game really encourages you changing your job, which is why it's odd that the actual animation of doing it is so obnoxious, because the game really wants you to do this. So you might have a very defensive one. So if she, and it'll show you the pathway. So it'll have like yellow, green, red circles between the jobs. And it'll say like, if you travel through yellow, then you'll gain +5 defense. If you then go through red afterwards, you'll actually gain +5 magic defense. And if you go all the way around, you gain +5 again on top of those, all those kind of elements. And then there'll be a healing one. And then there'll be like a black mage, a fire-based one. So if you swap jobs, you will cast a Faraga as you go through and get all these extra little bonuses that go along with your job. So you obviously want a spellcaster using a fire one, because when they change from black mage to maybe, I don't know, some other type of mage job that I'll find later to use a different spell, is along the way they will also cast this spell, which means the turn loss on changing jobs isn't so bad, because you're getting free spellcasts along that go with it that actually benefit you, like will give you bonuses and stuff. Along with that, this is so in-depth. I can't even imagine the build combinations that exist in this game. Is that person is also learning that job, right? In an almost tactics style. So if you focus into black mage, I just said then I want MP absorb, what you'll have in the abilities menu is a bunch of things that they can learn. So it'll start with your basic, right? Fire, whatever, Watara, and then it will go up to Faraga and things like that. And they have to learn them. But along with that, they'll get other bonuses like focus or first strike. All these kind of elements are buried within there. And you could choose what they want to learn next. So if you really just want, like I did, I want MP absorb, I can focus on that. I don't really want Pain, my warrior, to learn fire. I don't really want that. What I do want, though, is the ability to rejuvenate mana. So I'm going to focus on learning that. I can learn that, and then I can kind of ditch the learning of anything else and focus into other things. This means you can create some wacky combinations, for sure. It's only early days for me, but I can already foresee going out and actually just grinding some points up, because you learn by doing, as always. And you can also learn by being hit by things in a blue mage style. And that combat system is pretty good. On top of that, there's an entire Pokemon game. Like a full-on Pokemon game where you'll trap... it's almost like getting the Beastmaster class early from FF14, is that you'll get the ability to trap animals and creatures that are specific to the zones of the game, and then use them in tournaments and things, which will then earn you the ability for money, accessories, potions, things like that. I have no doubt whatsoever this massive system probably has like BIS weapons hidden behind it somewhere. interestingly enough, and apparently this was kind of a DLC, is you can swap out your party members, the main characters, and actually bring these creatures along with you. So if I have Lifelide, who's a massive dragon creature, like a big fire-breathing alligator thing. I can actually drop Riku, although he's large, so I know somebody's going to get in the minutiae of this, but for example, I could drop Riku and bring in that dragon. So I would have Pain, Unit, and a dragon with me. And they bring bonuses and auto bonuses, and you can set their aggression level and stuff. But essentially, it's Pokemon. I'm not using that for the main game, because apparently this was like a DLC thing, and I want the main characters there. That makes way more sense to me, to have them out there. But that's a whole other aspect that we'll talk about later. I played with it for about an hour, and it was really fun. And I want to come back to it, because I just kind of hard stopped playing the game to play the Pokemon game. And I was like, all right, it was very Yakuza in that style, right? It was very Yakuza. It was like, oh, interesting little mini game thing here. Mini, quote unquote. I'm going to live there now. Then things get a little weird. This game has a flaw. I would consider this a flaw, even though it's early days, and I'm now aware of it, is that there's tons and tons and tons of side content, but the game doesn't actually tell you about it. What it will do is when you're on the ship and you're deciding where to go next, it will highlight where the MSQ is. It'll be like, there's a sphere over here, you should go there. In actuality, there's stuff to do in every single zone. You can visit them all, pretty much, right? There'll be somewhere you can't, but for the most part, there's something to do in every single zone. Sometimes it will tell you that there's an actual mission there that you can go and do. But other than that, you can go kind of anywhere you want, and there'll be something to do there. This is their exploration system. It's not great. Not a fan of this, because I'm pretty sure there'll be various areas where there's nothing going on later in the game, and I just have to go there. Because it's not a case of mousing over it, or like selecting the area tells you that there's something new or exciting going on there. It won't say anything, but there is. So you kind of need to go there and check it out. So we'll see how that goes. I'm keeping my eye on it for now, but I've kind of hard stopped the MSQ, which is what you want in a Final Fantasy game, to be honest. Because my initial thought was, oh, I want to go to the desert to learn a new language, the Albed language, because you deal with the Albed a lot, but they speak a different language, and you have to uncover books, which will basically give you a letter of their alphabet, essentially. And I was like, oh, I'll go to the desert and do that. And while I was there, I got sidetracked hardcore, and then now ended up in a gauntlet against fiends to join to deal with the youth league. That's a different part of it. I haven't even gotten to the desert to do the thing. That's where I started, and I ended up going on for like 2 hours doing something else, and that's really fun. Really fun. And then back in my mind, I'm like, wait, I came here to do something else entirely. Like, I came here to do something else entirely to get this done. So all in all, so far, this game is really good. And the bait and switch at the start, I can see it was very off-putting to a lot of people who was like, oh, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not playing silly Popstar girl thing. That's not my game. And then about 15 minutes in, there's none of that at all, and you start uncovering everything else. So I hope I stay with this positive message here. But again, if this is a game that you turned on and thought, I'm playing dress up with Popstar girls, that's not for me. I get it completely. I'm just telling you that's not what it is. There's a lot more here, and potentially the best combat system in any FF so far. So fingers crossed, my friends. I'll check in with you on Monday to see how this lines up. All right, I'll see you then. Bye, guys.